have any summer vacation horror experience? What happened? Can you share your story? 2 years ago, during the summer vacation, I had a horrible experience that scarred me for life. Going on that summer vacation was supposed to be an opportunity for me to escape and unwind after a tough year of exams and a bad relationship. My parents had rented a cozy beach house for a week, and it was just me, my older brother Jake, and his girlfriend Maya. I was looking forward to the break, the sun, and the sea. The beach house was perched on a hill overlooking the ocean with a wraparound porch and large windows that framed stunning views. The first few days were pure bliss. We spent our time swimming, sunbathing, and exploring the nearby trails. I felt my worries melting away with each passing hour. On the fourth evening, we decided to check out a local bar that had been highly recommended by the house's owner. It was a small, cozy place with a lively atmosphere. Jake and Maya quickly made friends with a group of locals, but I felt a bit shy, so I decided to stay close to them, sipping my drink and enjoying the music. As the night passed, I began to feel more at ease. At the bar, I met a guy named Chris, one of the locals, who started chatting with me. He was very friendly and funny, and I laughed at his jokes and enjoyed the attention. After a while, Jake and Maya were lost in their own world, so they didn't notice when Chris suggested we take a walk on the beach to get some fresh air. He claimed that I would enjoy the cool evening breeze and the sound of the waves. I hesitated for a moment, but then agreed, thinking it would be nice to walk somewhere quieter. We strolled down the moonlit beach, the sound of the waves creating a soothing backdrop. Chris was attentive, asking about my life and interests. I felt a connection, a rare moment of feeling seen and understood. But as we walked further from the bar, Chris's demeanor changed. He grew insistent, his comments becoming suggestive, and his touches more invasive. My unease grew, and I tried to steer the conversation back to safer topics, but Chris wouldn't relent. The charming facade was slipping, revealing something darker beneath. When we reached a secluded part of the beach, Chris tightened his grip on my arm. My heart raced as I realized I was far from the safety of the bar and my brother. Chris pushed me against a rock, his breath hot and reeking of alcohol. He tried to kiss me, and when I turned my head away, he grabbed my hair and forced me to look at him. "Stop it, Chris." My voice was shaky, but I tried to sound firm. "I want to go back," I added. But Chris didn't listen. His hands roamed my body, and his intentions were clear. I'll be honest, as I struggled with Chris, I was afraid of what he would do. When I saw that he was almost having him, I screamed, hoping someone would hear me. But the crashing waves swallowed my cries. Just when I thought all hope was lost, a flashlight beamed in my direction. "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" Jake yelled as he ran toward us, and Maya followed him from behind. They had noticed my prolonged absence and had come looking for me. As soon as Chris saw him, he let go of me and backed away, muttering something about a misunderstanding. Jake was so furious that he punched him straight in the face, and Chris stumbled before running out of our sight. When that happened, Maya rushed to me, wrapping me in a protective embrace. "It's okay, Emma. You're safe now," Maya whispered, but I couldn't stop shaking. We walked back to the bar, where the manager called the police. Chris was found later that night, drunk, and he was arrested. I gave my statement, even though I was still in shock. There was no way I would let him get away with what he tried to do. The rest of the vacation was a blur for me. We stayed in the beach house, but the carefree days were gone. The house that once felt like a sanctuary now seemed haunted by the bad memories. I found it hard to sleep because my mind kept replaying the terror of that night. But I also felt a deep sense of gratitude for Jake and Maya, knowing that their timely intervention had saved me from something far worse. By the end of the week, as we packed up to leave, I realized I had changed. That ugly situation had left scars. And I'll be honest, it took me a while before I could get close to any other guy. Even though 2 years have passed, I'm still struggling to return to the cheerful girl I used to be. I stopped going on summer vacations 4 years ago after encountering something extraordinary. To this day, I can't really explain what happened, but I'll share my story. That particular summer vacation started with so much promise. I had been looking forward to our trip to the cabin for months. A week away from the city, surrounded by nature, swimming, hiking, and unwinding sounded perfect. It was me, my girlfriend Sarah, and our friends Mark and Lisa. We packed up the car with everything we thought we'd need and set off early in the morning, buzzing with excitement. The drive was long but scenic. The further we got from the city, the denser the forest became. When we finally arrived, the cabin looked just like the pictures, a quaint wooden cabin nestled by the water, with a small dock stretching out into the lake. It was idyllic, almost too perfect. We spent the first day settling in, unpacking, and exploring the area. The lake was crystal clear, reflecting the bright blue sky above. We swam, cooked dinner over a fire pit, and stayed up late into the night, telling stories and roasting marshmallows. The first night, however, is when things started to feel off. I woke up around 2 a.m. to the sound of scratching. At first, I thought it was just a raccoon or some other animal outside. I tried to ignore it and go back to sleep, but the scratching grew louder and more insistent. I got out of bed and walked to the window. Peering out into the darkness, I saw nothing but the dense forest and the faint outline of the dock under the moonlight. The following day, I mentioned the noise to the group. Mark laughed it off, saying it was probably just my imagination, but Sarah and Lisa exchanged worried glances. They admitted they had heard strange noises during the night too, but had thought it was just part of being in the woods. We decided to brush it off and spent the day hiking through the nearby trails. The forest was beautiful, but an unsettling feeling hung in the air, like we were being watched. Mark joked about the cabin being haunted, but none of us laughed. The sense of unease grew, gnawing at the edges of our enjoyment. That night, the scratching returned, louder and more frantic. It sounded like it was coming from inside the walls. We checked the cabin thoroughly but found nothing. Sarah was visibly shaken, and I could tell Lisa was scared too. Mark, who was always the skeptic, insisted it was just a squirrel or something. So we tried to return to sleep, but it was a restless night for all of us. On the third day, things escalated. We decided to take the boat out on the lake, thinking some time on the water might calm our nerves. As we rowed to the center, the feeling of being watched intensified. I glanced back at the shore and saw a figure standing at the forest's edge. I pointed it out, but when the others looked, it was gone. The real horror started that night. The scratching was accompanied by whispers, unintelligible but sinister. The walls seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting like a living organism. Sarah was crying, Mark was trying to stay calm, but I could see the fear in his eyes. Lisa suggested we leave, but it was already midnight, and the idea of driving through the dark, winding forest roads was terrifying. We decided to stick it out until morning, but none of us slept. The whispers grew louder, forming words that chilled us to the bone.
"Leave,"
they said.
"This is our place,"
the voices added. The temperature dropped sharply, and a thick fog from the lake enveloped the cabin. We huddled in the living room, clutching each other as the whispers turned into screams. It was such a nightmare. At dawn, we grabbed our things and bolted to the car. The cabin looked different in the daylight, more sinister, as if it was alive and watching us leave. As we sped away, none of us spoke. We never spoke about what happened at that cabin again. The weekend that was supposed to be a week of rest turned into a nightmare that haunted us all. I still wake up some nights to the sound of scratching, the memory of those whispers lingering in the darkness. The cabin seemed like a nice place to relax. I'm never going there again. Some places are better left undisturbed, and that cabin is one of those places.